Joe wants to know, what are the top three issues affecting your district? And if elected, what would you do about them?
Well, the first, I'd say housing. I'd say pollution. I'm writing these down, remember them. I mean, to talk about them. Housing, pollution, and the disconnect between youth and elderly, and that's obviously kind of a big picture issue. But with housing, I would also put healthcare, but that's kind of a statewide, nationwide thing. Right now, and we on both sides of the bridges, on both sides of the ports, we have a lot of gentrification going on, ironically, right at the waterfront. And so here on San Pedro, we have the revitalization of the LA waterfront, and it's public land. And it's one of these now public-private partnerships where private corporations are going to come in and make a mint off of the use of public land. And it's fine. A lot of us here, we understand that the old Ports of Call was run down, that the landlords hadn't been attending to it for decades. We get that. But there are businesses that are being threatened right now with closure. That one is the Ports of Call restaurant that employs 150 people and has been there for 30 or 40 years. And we don't want it gone. So the fact that they would raise that building, and it just tells us that it's not community based. There's a lot of land consolidation and ownership of land. So one of my primary platform pieces is land reform. And what I mean by that is the understanding that more and more land is being concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. And when you have that, you have a monopoly, and prices are going to go up. A lot of people in downtown San Pedro, a lot of businesses are just empty, and people blame the business owners. Well, they're not working hard enough. They blame various things, and they never seem to go after the rents. It's like, well, these rents have been going up and up on these businesses, so no wonder they're empty. Same thing is happening on the other side in Long Beach, the gentrification of downtown. How many, tens of millions of dollars being spent to make the downtown area so ritzy and luxury development. The brand new city hall, a lot of people are like, other city hall was fine. And so it's that kind of luxury building, nonstop overdevelopment that is one of the primary.
Well, and then how do you stop that? I mean, do you stop that by rent controls? Do you stop that by community investment? I mean, how do you stop that?
Well, you stop that by, first of all, calling it what it is. Mm-hmm. And it is luxury development. And mm-hmm. So you put a moratorium on luxury development. And one thing I want to bring in, and my second point is pollution, and this kind of goes to this, is that if I win in November and I'm talking from a microphone at the Capitol building in Sacramento, I'm going to let people know that in Los Angeles and Long Beach, if you don't even think about it, but I'm an environmental engineer, so I go back to like the resource base of how we all are doing all these things in modern society, that a lot of the rock to make the cement to build these buildings comes from Canada, comes from Vancouver, Canada. What they're doing is they're taking giant mountainsides by oceans, near the ocean, and they're using them as quarries. So they're destroying the mountains there. They're using them as quarries. And then they have a mile-long conveyor belt that takes that rock and puts it on a ship, and those ships come all the way down to here, and then to use more fossil energy, fossil fuels, in order to take the moisture out of that rock, make it cement to build down here. When you start, if you don't even think, like, buildings don't grow on trees, where does all this come from? And you start to think, wow, we're building so much down here, we can't even support the resource base. We have to go all the way to the Canadian pristine mountains and ruin up there to bring it all the way down here. So if you look at it that way, maybe people might kind of question, does this need to be so brand new right now? And things like that. So one of those is just having us pause and look at the natural resource base of it. Secondly is this is going to piss some people off, maybe, you know, who are in my camp, but the word control, I don't think is the best word to use. I would say rent equalization. Okay, let's start with that. Well, what does that mean? To me, that means that everyone should be equally concerned about having housing. And if you have some people who live daily afraid that they're going to be homeless, there's something wrong with that picture, especially when you have other people who own 2 and 3 and 4 homes and more apartment buildings, and they are the land, quote unquote, lords of our society. So I don't think some people and a growing underclass of people should be so housing insecure. Everyone needs to have secure housing. And one thing for that is public banking. Los Angeles is talking about public banking. Los Angeles City Council is talking about it. We have public banking now in California for the marijuana industry. So why not for the housing industry? Why can't we have a public bank where we don't have to worry about an interest rate on mortgages or you know, funds to create low income housing? If we had public banking, we wouldn't be paying for-profit bank the interest rates in order to build housing. That's so much a reason that it's not affordable. And just one more last point on that is people don't often think it's not so much what I earn, it's what I owe. And half it used to be 25% of our salaries went to housing. And then when I was a kid, I remember, oh, if it's 30% of your salary, then you're doing good. And it's not that anymore. We would love to have a third of our income go to housing. It's half at least, you know, and so to 70% sometimes. And that's not just, you know, necessarily some greedy landlord, because most people who are maybe landlords don't own that other building that they're renting out outright. And so they have to charge higher rents because the bank is you know, their mortgage on that property is being funded, so much of it is going to interest towards banks. So I want us to work together and look up at the banks. We need to start really looking at those citadels of fortune.
No, that's a great point. And I'm totally with you that there should be, we're getting a little echo. I'm totally with you that there should be some kind of maybe better verbiage, because I think the general person, when they kind of get scared away from rent control, is they're under the misconception that the landlords are going to lose out. And that's not true. You know, rent control does not, you know, the landlords, you know, they still get to make a sustainable profit on their property. It just kind of looks out for the renters back too. I mean, I think, yeah, like rent equalization or rent security, that's kind of,
yeah, something, rent fairness, you know,
rent fairness, like, absolutely, because, you know, the truth is, and with rent control, as we refer to it now, like, the landlords don't lose; it's more everybody wins, you know. But so yeah, and public banking is definitely a good input there.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.